Imagine waking up every morning, believing that your thoughts, emotions, and decisions are entirely your own. You assume that your reactions to people and situations are based on logic, personal values, or past experiences. But what if I told you that a hidden force is shaping your perceptions, guiding your responses, and even influencing the way you see yourself? A force so subtle yet powerful that it determines your relationships, your fears, and the very path your life takes, all without you realizing it. This force is called shadow projection, and today we are going to unravel how it works and how it has been silently shaping your world. Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow as the hidden, unconscious part of ourselves, the aspects of our personality that we reject, suppress, or deny. These are parts of us that we were told were unacceptable, embarrassing, or shameful, so we buried them deep within. But here is where it gets even more fascinating. Just because we repress these traits does not mean they disappear. Instead, they continue to exist in the unconscious mind, influencing us from behind the scenes. And when we refuse to acknowledge these parts of ourselves, they do not simply stay dormant, they get projected onto the external world. Projection occurs when we see in others what we refuse to see in ourselves. The qualities, behaviors, or emotions that we reject within us are reflected back at us through the people and situations we encounter. This is why certain people irritate us for no logical reason. It is why we react strongly to behaviors in others that we do not recognize within ourselves. It is why sometimes the faults we criticize in others are the very ones we secretly carry. Think about a time when someone deeply annoyed you. Maybe they were arrogant, selfish, or overly critical. The intensity of your reaction might have felt justified, but have you ever questioned why it affected you so much? Could it be that, on some level, that trait exists within you, buried, denied, or disguised as something else? This is the uncomfortable truth of shadow projection. The things we despise most in others often hold a mirror to the parts of ourselves we have not yet accepted. But shadow projection does not just shape our interactions with others, it shapes our entire reality. It influences our choices in relationships, drawing us toward people who unknowingly reflect the hidden aspects of our psyche. It dictates our emotional responses, making us overreact to situations without understanding why. It even limits our potential, making us believe that the flaws we see in others are external problems when, in reality, they might be aspects of ourselves waiting to be integrated. This unconscious process can create endless cycles of misunderstanding, conflict, and self-sabotage. We might repeatedly attract the same kind of relationships, unaware that our shadow is seeking expression through them. We might continue to struggle with the same challenges, blaming external circumstances, while ignoring the inner work that needs to be done. And most importantly, we might live under the illusion that we fully understand ourselves, when in reality there is an entire hidden world within us that remains unexplored. The deeper we suppress our shadow, the more it controls us from the dark corners of our mind. It becomes the unseen force behind our fears, our judgments, and our emotional triggers. But here is the paradox. The more we acknowledge and integrate our shadow, the less control it has over us. By bringing our unconscious patterns into awareness, we begin to see life with clarity. We stop being controlled by projections and start taking ownership of our true selves. But before we go deeper, I want you to reflect on something. Have you ever been absolutely convinced that someone else was the problem, only to later realize that your reaction said more about you than it did about them? Have you ever judged someone harshly, only to later recognize that you shared the very trait you despised? These moments of realization can be uncomfortable, but they are also the key to transformation. Stay with me, because in the next part, we will uncover the hidden mechanisms behind shadow projection. We will explore why certain people trigger strong emotional reactions within you, even when their actions seem harmless. We will reveal how unhealed wounds from the past shape your beliefs about the present. And most importantly, we will discover the first step toward freeing yourself from the unconscious forces that have been shaping your life all along. This journey will change the way you see yourself and the world around you. And in the final revelation, you will uncover the most powerful truth of all, one that has the potential to transform your relationships, your mindset, and the way you navigate life itself. Once you see it, you will never unsee it. Now let us take the first step in uncovering the hidden forces that have been influencing your reality. To truly understand how shadow projection influences your life, you must first recognize how it takes root in the subconscious mind. From the moment we are born, we begin absorbing messages about what is acceptable and unacceptable in our behavior. Society, family, and culture dictate certain qualities as desirable: kindness, patience, strength, while others are deemed undesirable: anger, selfishness, insecurity. As children, in our deep need to be loved and accepted, we quickly learn to suppress the parts of ourselves that do not align with these expectations. But suppressing a part of yourself does not erase it. The shadow does not disappear simply because we ignore it. Instead, it sinks into the unconscious mind, waiting for an opportunity to be expressed. And when it cannot find direct expression, it emerges in disguise, through projection. Projection happens when we attribute to others the qualities we cannot face within ourselves. This is why people who irritate us the most are often mirroring something we have not yet acknowledged. Have you ever found yourself accusing someone of being arrogant, only to later realize that your own need to be right was driving your frustration? Have you ever disliked someone for being too selfish, only to later recognize that you, too, struggle with setting boundaries and prioritizing your own needs? These moments of realization are not easy, but they are essential for growth. Shadow projection does not only affect individuals, it shapes entire societies. History is filled with examples of groups projecting their own denied qualities onto others, leading to discrimination, fear, and conflict. Jung warned that what we fail to confront within ourselves, we will battle in the world around us. Wars, prejudices, and mass hysteria often arise from collective projections, where a society refuses to see its own darkness and instead places it onto an external enemy. But let's bring this back to your personal experience. Think about your strongest emotional triggers, the people or behaviors that instantly set you off. What if those reactions were not actually about the other person, but about you? This is not to say that bad behavior should be excused, but rather that our perception of others often reveals more about our inner world than we realize. This is why two people can witness the same event and have completely different reactions. Imagine two co-workers observing a confident person voicing their opinion in a meeting. One person admires the confidence, while the other feels irritated and views it as arrogance. The confident person did not change. The difference was in the perception. The irritated co-worker may have unacknowledged insecurities about speaking up, and instead of recognizing that, they project their discomfort onto the other person. Shadow projection also explains why we repeat certain life patterns. Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting the same kind of relationships, even when you promise yourself that this time will be different? This is not a coincidence. The people we attract into our lives often mirror the unhealed parts of our psyche. If you struggle with self-worth, you might find yourself in relationships with people who undervalue you, not because you deserve mistreatment, but because your unconscious mind is trying to make you confront that part of yourself. If you harbor suppressed anger, you may constantly encounter people who trigger it, as if the universe is placing a mirror in front of you, saying, "Look, this is what you need to heal." The uncomfortable truth is this: the world around us is a reflection of our inner world. The more we reject within ourselves, the more we will encounter it outside of us. This is why Jung emphasized that personal growth requires deep self-awareness. Without it, we remain trapped in cycles of blame, thinking that others are the source of our discomfort, when in reality, they are only revealing what we have not yet accepted within ourselves. But here is where things begin to change. Once you recognize projection, you gain the power to break free from its grip. You stop reacting blindly to people and situations, and instead you start asking, what is this experience teaching me about myself? Instead of blaming others, you begin to take responsibility for your own emotions. Instead of feeling trapped in patterns, you begin to see them as opportunities for self-discovery. So I ask you, what if the things that irritate you most in others are actually invitations to look deeper within? What if the people who challenge you the most are not enemies, but guides leading you toward greater self-awareness? And what if the discomfort you feel when confronting your shadow is not a sign of weakness, but a doorway to freedom? Stay with me, because in the next part, we will explore how to integrate your shadow instead of projecting it onto others. We will uncover practical steps to recognize when projection is happening in real time and most importantly, how to use that awareness to transform your relationships, your mindset, and your emotional well-being. And remember, the final realization will be the most powerful of all, because once you truly understand the nature of your shadow, you will no longer be controlled by it, you will master it. Now, let's continue our journey into the depths of the unconscious. Recognizing that shadow projection is shaping your life is the first step. But awareness alone is not enough. You must learn how to integrate your shadow instead of allowing it to unconsciously control your actions, emotions, and relationships. This is where true transformation begins. Carl Jung believed that integrating the shadow was one of the most important processes in personal growth. He called this process individuation, the journey of becoming a whole, fully realized self. But what does this actually mean in practical terms? It means acknowledging the parts of yourself that you have long ignored, denied, or suppressed. It means facing the emotions that you have labeled as unacceptable. And most importantly, it means taking responsibility for your own inner world instead of blaming external circumstances for your suffering. The first step in shadow integration is identifying your projections. To do this, pay close attention to the people and situations that trigger strong emotional reactions within you. Who frustrates you? Who intimidates you? Who do you secretly envy? Who do you judge the most? These reactions are not random. They are clues leading you to the parts of yourself that you have not fully accepted. For example, if arrogance in others deeply bothers you, ask yourself, is it possible that I have unrecognized pride within me? If you are triggered by selfishness, could it be that you struggle with setting boundaries and taking care of your own needs? If someone's confidence makes you uncomfortable, could it be that you are suppressing your own desire to be seen and heard? These questions are difficult, but they are necessary. Because the truth is, the qualities we project onto others, whether positive or negative, are often reflections of something inside of us. But shadow integration is not just about identifying your projections, it is about embracing them. This does not mean acting on every suppressed impulse or indulging in destructive behaviors. It means acknowledging that every trait, even the ones we consider negative, has a role to play in our psychological wholeness. Take anger, for example. Many people are taught from a young age that anger is bad, so they suppress it. But anger, when integrated in a healthy way, is not destructive, it is protective. It sets boundaries, it signals when something is wrong. Suppressing anger does not make it disappear. It only causes it to surface in unhealthy ways, through passive aggression, resentment, or explosive outbursts. But when you acknowledge your anger, you gain control over it. Instead of letting it rule you, you learn how to use it wisely. The same applies to fear. Fear, when denied, can manifest as avoidance, anxiety, or self-sabotage. But when you acknowledge your fear, you can use it as a guide. It shows you where you need to grow. It reveals what truly matters to you. By embracing your fears instead of running from them, you turn them into sources of strength rather than obstacles. Another crucial step in shadow integration is self-compassion. Many people, when they first discover their shadow, react with shame. They feel guilty for their suppressed emotions, their hidden insecurities, their unspoken desires. But shame only deepens the separation between you and your true self. Instead of judging your shadow, approach it with curiosity. Understand that every aspect of your personality, yes, even the ones you wish were not there, exists for a reason. Jung often spoke of the importance of holding the tension of opposites. This means recognizing that you are not purely good or bad, strong or weak, confident or insecure. You are a complex being, capable of both light and darkness. And when you accept this, you begin to integrate all aspects of yourself into a harmonious whole. But how do you actually practice shadow integration in daily life? The next time you feel triggered by someone, pause. Instead of reacting automatically, ask yourself, what is this situation revealing about me? What part of myself am I seeing reflected in this person? If you are feeling strong emotions, instead of pushing them away, explore them. What are they trying to teach you? Journaling is a powerful tool for this process. Write down your strongest judgments of others, then ask yourself how those judgments might apply to you. Meditation and mindfulness also help, as they allow you to observe your thoughts and reactions without immediate judgment. Therapy, particularly Jungian analysis, can offer profound insights into the unconscious patterns that shape your life. But perhaps the most powerful method of shadow integration is self-expression. The more you express your authentic self, the good, the bad, the complex, the less power your shadow has over you. Creativity, whether through writing, art, music, or movement, allows you to bring hidden aspects of yourself into the light. The more you express, the less you suppress. And the less you suppress, the more whole you become. So let me ask you, what have you been denying within yourself? What qualities have you projected onto others instead of owning within yourself? What if the very traits you despise in others are the ones you need to integrate within yourself? Stay with me, because in the next part we will take this even deeper. We will uncover the ultimate key to shadow integration, the final step that allows you to reclaim your power, break free from unconscious patterns, and transform not only your relationship with yourself, but with the entire world around you. This is where everything comes together. And once you see this truth, your life will never be the same again. Now, let's move forward into the final realization. Now that you understand how shadow projection works and how to begin integrating it, we arrive at the most powerful realization of all, the one that can fundamentally transform your life. What if I told you that your greatest source of power lies in the very parts of yourself that you have rejected? That the traits you have spent years suppressing are not weaknesses, but hidden strengths waiting to be reclaimed? This is the truth that Carl Jung devoted his life to exploring. The more you embrace your shadow, the more complete you become. The qualities you have rejected, whether it is your anger, your ambition, your vulnerability, or your need for attention, are not obstacles to your growth. They are essential pieces of your wholeness. When you suppress them, they control you from the shadows. But when you integrate them, you gain access to a deeper, more authentic version of yourself. Think about this. Every legendary figure in history, every person who has left a lasting impact on the world, has had to confront their own shadow. They did not become great by pretending to be perfect. They became great by embracing all aspects of themselves, their fears, their flaws, their contradictions, and using them as fuel for transformation. Take Mahatma Gandhi, for example. He is known for his philosophy of nonviolence, but few people realize that his early years were marked by intense anger and frustration. Instead of suppressing those emotions, he learned to channel them into a powerful force for change. His anger became his passion. His frustration became his determination. If he had denied those emotions, he might have lived an ordinary life. But because he faced them and integrated them, he became a force that reshaped history. Or consider Carl Jung himself. He was deeply introspective and often struggled with feelings of alienation, doubt, and darkness. But instead of running from those experiences, he explored them. He used them to develop groundbreaking insights into the human psyche. His willingness to confront his own unconscious mind allowed him to offer wisdom that continues to change lives today. And this brings us to you. What if, instead of rejecting your shadow, you started working with it? What if, instead of feeling ashamed of your flaws, you started seeing them as teachers? What if, instead of suppressing your emotions, you started listening to what they were trying to tell you? The final step in shadow integration is not just awareness, it is ownership. It is the decision to stop seeing your shadow as something to fight against and start seeing it as a source of power. So how do you do this? First, recognize that the parts of yourself you have been avoiding are not your enemies. If you feel envy, do not shame yourself for it. Ask yourself what it is trying to reveal. Is it pointing you towards something you secretly desire? Is it showing you where you have been holding yourself back? Instead of being consumed by envy, use it as motivation to pursue what truly matters to you. If you feel fear, do not try to numb it. Listen to it. Is it protecting you from something real, or is it simply showing you where you need to grow? Fear is not always a sign to retreat. It is often a signal that you are on the edge of a breakthrough. If you struggle with anger, do not suppress it. Instead, ask yourself what boundary has been crossed. Anger, when used wisely, is a force that creates change. It is the emotion that says, enough, something must shift, but only when it is acknowledged and directed with awareness. The key is this. Every emotion, every trait, every shadow part of yourself has a purpose. When you accept them, you become whole. When you deny them, they control you from the unconscious. And here is where the true freedom begins. Once you integrate your shadow, you stop being controlled by unconscious patterns. You stop repeating the same painful cycles. You stop blaming others for your emotions and start taking responsibility for your own inner world. You no longer see challenges as personal attacks, but as opportunities for growth. You stop fearing failure because you understand that every experience, even the difficult ones, is part of your evolution. This is the path to true self-mastery. It is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming fully yourself. It is about stepping into your power, not just the parts of you that are easy to love, but all of you. Because when you do that, something incredible happens. You stop living a fragmented life, you stop hiding, you stop feeling like you are not enough, and instead, you step into the truth of who you are. So now I leave you with one final question, perhaps the most important question of all. What would your life look like if you stopped running from your shadow and started embracing it? Because the moment you choose to do that, everything changes. The journey of self-discovery does not end here. It is a lifelong process. But now you have the awareness, the tools, and the power to move forward with clarity, courage, and purpose. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher. And once you understand that, you will never see yourself or the world the same way again. Thanks for looking.